The Nintendo Switch OLED model has been out for about 6 months now. Although this hasn't been a complete unicorn to pick up like graphics cards and other consoles on the market, just now it's gotten more available through major retailers at MSRP pricing. So I decided to scoop up one of these evolved Nintendo Switches for myself and experience one of my most favorite consoles of all time in its most matured form. One thing noted by many is the Nintendo Switch is pretty notorious for not being super friendly when it comes to owning multiple versions of the Switch and transferring from one Switch to another. It definitely isn't a very cut and clear process on transferring your save data from one Switch to another like other consoles we've seen. Even though there are a lot of tutorials out there on how this process can be done, we're going to make a more updated version as I'm going through the process myself, and we are going to move all the save data from my V1 Switch to the OLED Switch and kind of show you the ins and outs and probably the safest way to do so. I will also show you guys how to transfer your island from Animal Crossing on your older console to your new console, as it doesn't actually use Nintendo save data like majority of the other games. It has its own way of transferring data, and we're going to go through the process of that in this video. So kicking this thing off, we're going to start off by setting up our new OLED Nintendo Switch. And first things first, I'm going to pop in a brand new SD card into our new OLED Nintendo Switch, plug it into power, and power on our new console. Once your console is powered on, the Nintendo Switch is going to prompt you through some very basic setup, starting off with language, region. Then it will ask to connect to a Wi-Fi network, so select your SSID and enter the password and it will connect you to the network. Then select your time zone. Then it will ask if you would like to proceed onto a TV. We're just going to stay in handheld mode for now. Then it will prompt you to detach your Joy-Cons. I think this is just for some sort of calibration, so I just quickly detached them, then reattached them so we can stay in handheld mode and keep the Joy-Cons on the console. Now we are getting into the important stuff, the user and save data. We're just going to hit next. And since we are going from a old console to a new console and I want to keep my user, we are going to select how we want to add a user. And in this case, we're going to import user data from another console. And we still have the console we want to import from, so I'm going to select yes. Then this is probably the most important screen in this tutorial. It says, will you keep using the previous console in addition to this one? If you select no, I believe this will wipe out your old console. In the process, I believe it will transfer the save data from games that do have cloud saves with Nintendo and move it onto your new console, but this will nuke your old console in the process. For our use case, and most specifically just to be safe and we are able to access Animal Crossing later on, we are going to select yes, we will keep using our old console. It might be a little bit more tedious in the long run, but if you select yes, you won't have to worry about your old Switch getting wiped. The next screen is going to ask you to import a user, and we're going to do it by linking our Nintendo account, so we are just going to log in. Your console may hit an update when trying to use the login feature, but it will do its thing, reboot, and bring you right back to the screen you were on. So we will just log in with our Nintendo account credentials and hit sign in. Once signed in, it will show your user and we'll just hit OK. It'll ask you if you want to make another user and set up parental guidance and certain features like that. We're just going to hit skip on all that and it should let you into the console. So now that we are into our new console, we are going to work on getting our save data from our old Switch to our new Switch. As you can see right here, I have both my version 1 Switch on top and then the OLED Switch on the bottom. Starting with my V1 Switch, we're going to go over to the system settings and we're going to scroll down to data management. Then inside data management, we are going to scroll down to transfer your save data. And since this is our original Nintendo Switch, we're going to click send save data to another console, as this is the source console. And this will open up the sending save data menu where it shows all of your games and all of your save data, and you just select the one you would like to transfer. Now we are going to go over to the OLED Nintendo Switch and we're going to go to the same menu. We're going to go to system settings, data management, and we are going to toggle down to transfer your saved data once again. So very similar process. Except in this case, instead of send data to another console, we are going to click receive save data, since this is the target console, not the source. Once you select that, it'll just kind of sit in queue and wait for save data to get transferred over. And that's where we will turn our attention back to the version 1 switch and select the game we would like to send over. So we're going to select a game and then click send save data on our old switch, and we should see it pop up on our new switch when the transfer is complete. Most games will take less than a minute, but you might have some larger games that take a little bit longer. Now, unfortunately, this does seem pretty tedious to go through each game, and especially if you have a lot of games. I don't have a ton of titles that I've played on the Nintendo Switch, but for me, it was nice knowing that my old console was still active, but once the save data goes through, you no longer have that save data on your previous console. So I went ahead and did this for each game, and as far as I can tell, in every game that I've opened, all of our save data has been successfully transferred over to our new OLED Nintendo Switch. So now that we have our save data transferred, now we are going to turn our attention towards Animal Crossing. And as I mentioned, transferring your island save data is much different than how we transfer the save data of our other games. Animal Crossing actually uses its very own utility that can be downloaded from the eShop. So in order to transfer your island save data from your old Switch to the new Switch, you're going to want to download the Island Transfer tool on both your old Switch and your new Switch. And along with that, I would make sure that you have Animal Crossing installed on both your old Switch and new Switch as well before you make the transfer. I went ahead and installed Animal Crossing New Horizon on my new Switch, but haven't opened it yet until we do the transfer. So first things first, once the Island Transfer tool is installed on both of your systems, you're going to want to open it up on both systems, and we're going to run through a couple of prompts. So in this case, I have my old Switch docked right now, and that is going to be the screen capture that you see on the screen. And then you will see a camera view of my new OLED Switch, which is the target console. So when you open the application, we're just going to hit continue. Then we're going to hit OK. And it's just going to give you a lot of information just to be safe and kind of let you know how the tool works. We'll hit let's begin. And then you're going to select the type of transfer that you're making on this device. So in this case, this is my old Switch. So we are going to make this the source. And the next screen should detect your island, and it'll show the island's name. In my case, my island's name is Dude World. It says has been detected. Is this the save data you want to transfer? And we're going to hit yes. Then it is going to tell you to launch the program on your other Switch, being the target system, and follow the instructions that we kind of did in this, but obviously instead of selecting source, we're going to select target for our other Switch. So we're going to hit continue, and it will begin searching for the target console. And while it is searching and kind of waiting in queue, we're going to go over to our OLED Nintendo Switch, open the Island Transfer tool, and run through the same prompts we just did. Once you hit proceed on your target console, it will begin searching for the source console, and they will link up and the transfer will continue on its own. The transfer doesn't seem to take too long. It might depend on the size of your island, but in my case, it didn't take too long, and you will get a notification once the transfer is complete on both your source console and your target console. Now that the transfer is complete, I'm going to open up my Animal Crossing's New Horizons on my new OLED Switch, which is our target console, and make sure the transfer went through. So loading up Animal Crossing on your new console will load up a little bit differently. You're going to get a prompt that says there is an existing resident data on your current island, and this Nintendo Switch system is not linked to any user account. Just go ahead and hit next, and the next screen will ask you if you want to use existing resident data or would you like to link a user account with it. We are going to use existing data, as I think if you start fresh, it's just pretty much going to wipe out your user data and your island data that we just transferred. One thing to keep in mind, this is the first time I have opened Animal Crossing New Horizons on my new console, so that might be why we're seeing this screen also. When you hit existing data, it says currently there is only one resident whose data is not linked with a user account. Click display data. Then you should see your user account pop up, If you click on that, it will ask if you want to start playing as this current resident, and we're going to hit yes. You'll get a loading screen that says linking current user with resident data, do not touch the power, and once that loading screen completes, it will load you into the game. And going into Animal Crossing, everything looks exactly as I left it as far as my island goes and all the completion stuff that I've done. Everything's exactly the same from my V1 Switch, so the transfer was very successful. So that is going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you for checking this one out. I just kind of wanted to take you through the process of transferring your save data from an older Nintendo Switch to a new Nintendo Switch, especially too as the Nintendo Switch OLED is becoming more and more available right now, and there might be quite a few people upgrading and going through this process as well. If you enjoyed the video and found it helpful, make sure to drop a like, and if you want to see more tech related videos like this one, be sure to subscribe. As always, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.